I mean, what do you do for your birthday? What does a
Yeah.
birthday mean to you? How do you celebrate? Do you celebrate at all? Do you pull a me and just leave?
And disappear so no one can find you on your birthday. Yes.
Disappear. Completely off the grid. Hey everyone, I'm Mike.
I'm Andrew.
And we're the Midlife Guys. So before we start, Andrew, I would like to extend a warm happy birthday to your wife, Jessica.
Yes.
She just celebrated another year. She's a wonderful person and a mother, and I know you and your boys had a great time celebrating with her.
I second all that. Yes, she's fantastic. And the boys and I had a lot of fun celebrating her. But importantly, too, she's not the only one who recently had a birthday. You just celebrated your birthday, too, Mike. So happy birthday to you.
Thanks.
I know you don't like talking about birthdays, but guess what?
But that is the subject of today's episode. Birthdays and growing older. So around 4 million millennials are turning 40 each year. So we're getting older and older and older.
I feel it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You're getting older.
So both Andrew and I have already surpassed that milestone of the age 40. So, we definitely feel it. But I really am fascinated by the fact that millennials' view on turning 40 is very, very different from how boomers and Gen X. Boomers and Gen X saw 40 as just one more step closer to the grave. Millennials, on the other hand, take a very different view, a much more optimistic view, which I appreciate. As we've discussed in a previous episode, the millennial generation tends to be a much healthier generation. And so they are more optimistic about aging because they don't see the quality of life going down because they're so healthy. As a result, millennials are more likely to celebrate their birthdays. And we're not talking about just celebrating. Millennials apparently want a big old week-long blowout. They love the big celebration. I am not one of those. I am not.
You try to avoid birthday celebrations.
I do. I do.
And I love a good birthday celebration.
I have a story about that in a few minutes, but yes, I do try to avoid it. But we know this because consumer and trade organizations who are always chasing those dollar bills have done a ton of research about millennials and what they want and what they like for their birthdays. So here are some of the things. The first is 39% of millennials like to travel for their birthday. It doesn't have to be just some exotic location. It could be, a few states away, even in the same state, but they like to travel. That is a huge departure from Gen X and boomers who preferred to just stay at home and do the whole family thing. So that's an interesting departure. The second is that there's been this really sharp increase in the so-called wellness birthday. So
that sounds millennial.
It does sound nice. That's so
wellness birthday.
So this is where you completely unplug. You unplug from work. You unplug from social media, your computer. You just ditch all of your electronics and you go camping, or you could just stay at home, or you go someplace else. It doesn't matter. You just spend time with family and friends and you completely unplug, which actually sounds very nice. I don't know if I really want to go camping. I am not a camping person.
Shocking. Yeah, I know it.
But all this is to say is that millennials still want their birthdays to be special. It doesn't have to be a big party or a faraway destination, but they do want a time of the year that's just for them. So what do you think about that, Andrew?
I mean, that makes sense, at least in my experience. I do think that probably is something that's a bit different about our generation versus others. I remember as a kid, you'd have your parents that have birthdays or whatnot, but I feel like there weren't tons of birthday parties or special events when you got to sort of, other than like 40s, the big one, but other ones I feel like you don't remember as much. Whereas now, like, at least with myself and with friends, like, it's fun to try to plan a party or a reason for people to kind of prioritize getting together and not just for a milestone birthday, but just to kind of hang out and spend time together. So that definitely makes sense to me. I have had some friends who've gone on birthday trips, which sound awesome. I haven't done one yet, in part because, trying to manage kids, and they can be expensive if they got some bougie friends who like to pick really exotic places to go. But it
Ooh.
sounds like fun. I love the idea of traveling. I also love the wellness birthday. That sounds great. Like you, I'm not a huge camping person, so I like the idea of unplugging a little bit. Although I also had a great birthday gift a couple years ago. I'm terrible to shop for. People ask me like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "I don't know." Like I get most of what I need for myself, and I like spending time with people and hanging out or having quiet time. And so a couple of years ago, my wife was asking me, "What do you want?" I was like, "You know what I would love is like 2 or 3 hours by myself on a Saturday at home, just like quiet." And so she took the boys, and it was awesome. I like ordered lunch. I watched one of my favorite movies. I took a nap. It was fantastic. That was an amazing birthday gift. So I'm curious if other people like their quiet time too, but the idea of sort of more wellness oriented kind of unplugging, spending time with people, that definitely makes sense to me as sort of a birthday trend.
Yeah, it does make sense. Um, as you kind of alluded to earlier, I'm not a big birthday person, so I tend to travel. Um, I will
You do. Yeah.
say that one of the more interesting slash relaxing birthdays I have ever had was my 40th birthday party. I was set to go on a cruise out of Fort Lauderdale, but this storm hit the south of Florida that seemingly came out of nowhere because the meteorologist had no idea that it was coming nor when it was going to end. And so there was no way to leave. I was trapped in my hotel. And, it was very relaxing. There was just nothing to do. Just got to relax. So I enjoyed
If
that
that
for my
works for you.
40th birthday.
I do love a relaxing situation. Those are the best. I will say
Couldn't spend it
another.
outside, but,
That's true. You could watch the rain. Maybe that's kind of relaxing, right? Watching the storm. I don't know.
I could
Did you
watch the
drink at least?
squall.
Hopefully. Oh,
It was
okay,
a
maybe.
squall. I mean,
Yeah. As long as you had a couple birthday
sideways
drinks with
rain.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I will say something else that's interesting, and this is probably different because you do travel a bunch for your birthday, and just you like to travel in general. Is with kids, I feel like how I celebrate my birthday has changed a little bit too. And so, for my 40th, I was trying to think of something that we could do that would be sort of both adult and kid friendly, would have components that would be okay for like both of those things, which is definitely a little bit different than, you know, other parties where it's like just for adults, which is fine too, but definitely being sort of a millennial midlife parent, definitely try to think about ways to keep kids occupied as well, which I feel like is kind of a wrinkle when trying to think about birthdays at this age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, millennials have it tough. There's financial stress, there's family stress, the list goes on and on. And so a birthday is your one opportunity to be a little selfish. So do you? Do you get selfish? But I want to hear what our listeners think. I mean, what do you do for your birthday? What does a
Yeah.
birthday mean to you? How do you celebrate? Do you celebrate at all? Do you pull a me and just leave
And disappear so no one can find you on your
and
birthday. Yes.
disappear completely
So
off the grid?
do you do like a 1 day birthday thing? I know some people who celebrate multiple times for their birthday or do different things. So yeah, love to hear what other people are doing for their birthdays. Maybe we can get some good ideas, Mike, on what we can do next year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But speaking of everybody turning 40, all these millennials, there's 4 million millennials turning 40. The other thing that is starting to happen are millennials are beginning to have their midlife crises. So when you talk about midlife crisis, you automatically think of the guy, the whatever, the guy who runs out on his family, buys a sports car, and finds a 18-year-old to date. Now, there's not any real data to back up the idea that guys are running out and buying sports cars in their 40s. There is data that shows that divorce rates increase in their 40s, but is that really because of a midlife crisis? I don't know.
I wonder where the thing with the sports car and running off with somebody came from too. It must be like a pop culture thing, I guess. I
It
don't
has
know.
to be a pop culture
Yeah,
thing.
I'm
I'm
trying to think
sure
what
that
it
there's,
traces back to.
those grocery store books, cheap crap novels that,
Maybe, yeah.
glorify this.
Was there a Lifetime
Um,
movie about it or something? Maybe. Like
very
I don't
possible.
know. Yeah.
It's very possible. But millennials are starting to have their midlife crisis, but it's much different than boomers and Gen X. And the reason for that is the life for most millennials is much different. So, expectations are different. Millennials have taken on 300% more debt compared with their parents. They're half as likely to own a home. More millennials won't retire until the age of 75. And 1 in 5 millennials is living in poverty. These are some bleak statistics that came from the Huffington Post. That is not great.
Not great.
So,
No.
no,
And if you want to
not
dive
great.
deeper into not being great, we had an episode a couple back about sort of financial pressures on midlife and millennials. So check that out too for another little pick me up on this topic.
Mm-hmm. Link in the bio.
That's right. Yeah.
I want to interrupt and rewind by 2 minutes because I was doing a fact check on where the stereotype of the
Oh, yes.
of the red sports star came from, and I have an answer. For those
Oh,
who are
I want to hear
curious.
it. Let's do it. Yes.
Gail Sheehy's book Passages turned the midlife crisis into a cultural phenomenon, writes this NPR article, symbolized by the red sports car, quitting your job, leaving your marriage. This book was published in 1976. So it seems like it was a concept. The phrase midlife crisis, by the way, invented by a Canadian psychoanalyst in 1965. And then 10 years later, this was anyway, this is a long tangent, but I'm going down a Wikipedia rabbit hole.
It's a good tangent. I like it, though. That's
on behalf of your listeners. So this whole phenomenon is very much a mid-20th century thing.
Yeah, thing.
And it's unclear whether anybody has actually bought a red sports car and divorced their wife. Or if it was just this one guy in this one book.
That's also fascinating to think about, like, how that one book has spawned all this, like, and it, like, what sticks in our consciousness. Anyway, it's just kind of wild that it came from one place. Yeah.
I mean, but that happens all the time.
It does.
We just build up this whole aura around, one single narrative.
Yeah. But good segue to talk about midlife crisis. So you can go back, Mike, to you were saying about the bleak situation.
Has embarked on a campaign. Vox started interviewing folks who are millennials in their 40s going through a midlife crisis. And what they found is kind of interesting. Actually, it's really fucking interesting. So, millennial midlife crisis is very introspective. Millennials are trying to control the things that they can control. These outside forces like the financial burdens or unhappiness in whatever way is, they see it as not, you can't control them, so they're trying to control the things they can. They're doing more things like athletic competitions, whether it be a marathon or joining High Rocks. They're also a big thing.
Okay, real quick, sorry. What is High Rocks? I haven't heard of that before.
It's weightlifting and this whole big, like, it's very popular here and in Europe. It's like really intense.
Interesting.
You have to train for years and it's very competitive.
Okay.
So
not up my alley, but I just had not heard that before. Okay.
No, that's a professional athlete thing. They're also making very concrete plans to exit their current careers in the hopes that they can find a second career, something that they're going to find more rewarding, more joyful. But I'm curious. I'm curious to hear from our listeners. Are you in the middle of a midlife crisis? If so, how's it changed your outlook on things? How are you navigating it? Let us know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think it's definitely worth. I'd love to hear what people have like, have gone through some of these like doubts or questions or the introspection. I definitely relate to the introspection piece of it. I feel like I've become more reflective in the past couple of years. You ask yourself, at least I'm asking myself more questions like, am I happy with where my life is? Or has it gone in the direction I thought it would? Or what do I want to do with the next like 20 plus years of, a career? Or like, is all this worth it? Like all these questions that I feel like you get in your 40s, maybe late 30s into your 40s. And who knows, maybe the questions continue as you keep going, aging. I'm not sure, but it's definitely, I think those questions are probably natural to have. They're more common as you're sort of at this midpoint. And it's interesting. I don't know about you, Mike. I think you have seen this too. I've definitely seen some friends who've gone through maybe some midlife crisis. I think about it more as like burnout too. Like they just seem like completely done and burned out by either their job, or usually it's their job or career or something else. But it just feel totally just like depleted. And so that's tough. I don't know what the answer to that is, other than I guess maybe see if there's something else out there for you, or try to prioritize relationships with people instead of just a career or something. But I feel like burnout is definitely a hard thing. I know I feel fortunate too in the sense that, you know, life's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like I'm in a good place and I feel fulfilled in like the work that I do, and I love my family, and I feel like I've got a good community of people. And so I'm certainly grateful and feel blessed to have that sense of fulfillment. But I'm sure it's got to be tough if you don't have that or feel like you're kind of, just lost out there.
Well, Lottie fucking da. Aren't we all so happy for Andrew?
I was trying to share and be vulnerable.
Everything's perfect for Andrew.
It's not perfect, no, but I think that's part of it too. That's a good point, because I feel like we are, especially, when you're growing up, there's this sense of like you can have it all and this perfect balance, and like life will all work out. And going back to pop culture, like here's this idyllic version of like, this perfect life. It doesn't exist. Like that's not a thing. But I think there is something to be said for trying to find fulfillment where you can, trying to find meaning. I mean, going back to another episode, we talked a lot about relationships. I think that's a place where, you can work hard at really building meaningful relationships that make your life feel full. But I think that's an important thing to consider though, especially in midlife, the idea that there is no perfect, but are there things that you're happy with? Or are there things that you can try to work towards to get to a place where you're kind of feel more grateful or fulfilled?
Yeah. I mean, the introspective thing really resonates with me too. I mean, I've been very fortunate, and I continue to be very fortunate with my professions, my friendships, and my experiences. I've done all kinds of things that a lot of folks have not. I mean,
Yeah.
running for political office, living abroad and working abroad, and doing all this, that, and the other thing. So I've done some really cool things. And so, I look at it as every day needs to be a new opportunity where you can make a positive impact on my community, or at least those around me. And so, hell, that's the whole fucking point of why we're doing this podcast. Millennials, midlife men need a space, because it doesn't fucking exist, in which they can talk about the challenges and the positive things happening in their lives. It doesn't all have to be a sad sack state of affairs. There can be a positive angle to all of this too. But we need this community, and it just doesn't fucking exist. So please share with your friends. Tell them to like and subscribe to our podcast. But
We're going to guilt you into it.
Guilt you into this. But being introspective is a good thing.
It is.
Helps us grow. I plan on living a lot longer, and every day I grow, or every day that I grow or learn something new, it's a good day and I feel accomplished. So,
well, good for you. No, I think that is good. I think that those are great goals. I would say you might do a good job of trying new experiences, doing different things, learning things constantly, like as you age, and sort of finding new ways to kind of keep moving yourself forward, which is awesome, wonderful goal. If I'm being honest, there are some days where I'm just like, it's not happening today. I got through the day. I'm going to pat myself on the back for making it through the day. And I feel like those days kind of happen more in midlife. But I do think setting goals is really important, and trying to, again, find those places where you feel like you can learn and grow. And I think that does help with some of avoiding burnout or feeling more fulfilled.
Yes. And to that point a little bit more, I do believe, and I'm not gonna have either one of you beat up on me that's feeling like it's easy because you don't have kids, because I know a lot of people who have kids that do this. One, like self-improvement, like taking a class, an adult learning class, doing that on a regular basis, I think is a really good way to continue that journey, continue learning, whatever that may be. I think that's really important to, constantly feeding your soul as
Yeah, I think
as you age.
and self-improvement can be pretty broad, right? I mean, it could be anything. That could be taking a class, learning a language, maybe joining a book club, doing a 10K, like whatever. I mean, it can be kind of whatever works for different people. But yeah, I do think that's a good idea to sort of kind of set goals, because I feel like that's easy to fall into sort of the malaise of every day unless you've got something you're really trying to like reach towards. And that is just for you too. Like I think, as someone who has kids, and it's great to have kids and to support them, and my wife and I support each other, but it's nice to sometimes have like specific goals that are just for you as a person that you want to do to kind of make yourself better. Don't forget about yourself. It's like, there you go. Yeah.
Agreed. So for the final topic, I want to talk about something super, super fun. Let's just throw it way back to the late 80s, early 90s, and talk about the old school birthdays. You remember those old school birthdays, Andrew?
Well, I remember the old school birthdays.
Would you
I
like to
think I
know
do.
the top 10 birthday parties from the late 80s, early 90s?
Throw them at me. I could probably guess some of them, but yeah, go for it.
Laser tag, roller skating, bowling, putt-putt, going to the movie theater, pool party, go-karts, McDonald's birthday party, house party, and sleepovers. Do you remember all of these? Do our listeners remember all of these? What was your favorite 90s birthday party? What about you, Andrew? What was your favorite?
Favorite? I do want to hear what other people remember or their favorites. Gosh, that's hard. I remember, so bowling, mini golf, like backyard parties were all the jam. Pool parties in the summer for sure too. Birthdays. I mean, yeah, I remember all of them. I don't know if I could pick a favorite though. That's hard. Ooh. I do have, I guess, great memories of when I was a kid, because my birthday's in May, and so the weather's usually pretty nice. And so just having like a bunch of friends or family over and like just doing like a cookout, everybody runs around, there's a bunch of cake, that's just kind of fun, just hanging out with people. But yeah, I remember the bowling stuff too, especially. That was always fun, because I don't know why as a kid I was like fascinated by bowling shoes, like that, the fact that you got to wear separate shoes when you were in bowling. So I don't know why I thought that was interesting as a kid. I was like, So my random fact, do other people have fun birthday stories they could share? But
yeah,
that was a very long-winded way of saying that laser tag is the correct answer, Andrew. I'm sort of surprised to hear you say no.
I've never done laser tag.
You've never done laser tag?
I know why it was not big when I was growing up, at least in my area. And even as an adult, I've never actually done laser. I know you're okay. Leave your comments about how I need to do laser tag now. But no, I've actually never in my life done laser tag once.
So I have done laser tag. And that's not true, Andrew. You have done laser tag because you and I have done it together. You were drinking when you did it.
Okay, maybe I don't remember doing. What was that? Okay, I don't remember doing laser tag. Check. I know. There you go. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember that. Okay, well, I'll need to do sober laser tag then, so I can remember laser tag.
But yeah, I mean, the laser tag thing did kind of surprise me, because I think that came a little later. I remember doing that. That was like for me, that was like a middle school thing. So I do remember it, and I do remember doing it, but that was a little bit later. Well, it wasn't like, preschool or elementary school.
So framing it's laser tag for you though, by far.
It sounds 100%. Like it's laser tag.
100% laser tag. Okay.
Always looked forward to going to whatever the laser tag place was called. You have the mirrors, everything's dark. You bounce the lasers off the mirrors. You're going through the sort of maze thing. It's very, very cool. I I was always very excited by it. My birthday is also in January to that point, so it was always an indoor thing.
So inside,
Interesting,
yeah.
interesting, and I'm up in Canada, so it was always quite snowy. So it was there may be a climate element to laser tag being so much more popular up here, but great time.
I have a great an important follow-up question for you. So, are you now going to become like the dad who goes to laser tag birthdays and tries to take out like all the kids?
Well, that's a good question. I haven't gotten there yet. My
Yeah.
oldest.
Okay.
My
Let's
oldest
see.
just turned 5, so he's a ways off
Okay.
from his midlife
Yeah.
crisis. But
his laser tag party, he might not be too far from.
Well, the advantage of living where I do in Niagara Falls, Canada, is there's a lot of all sorts of games and mini golf and laser tag, a 15-minute walk from our house. So I have no doubt that we will ask me the question in 5 years and I'll have a better answer for you. But right now it's still just like backyard balloons and cake and stuff.
I can tell you something I hated was the fucking roller skating. There is videotape that my dad took because there was a group. There was like 2 other guys in my class. We all had the birthday around the exact same time, and so all the parents went in, like this was like kindergarten or something, and did a roller skating thing. I looked directly at the camera at one point. I'm like, why the fuck are we doing this?
Wait, did you say fucking kindergarten? Can I just start?
That's a very good possibility. I did. My dad was always very unfiltered.
Yeah, I never got roller skating either. Was never a huge fan of that one. Oh, did you remember roller blading was really popular too when we were kids? Yeah. I do remember rollerblades. Yeah.
But my favorite was putt-putt. I still like putt-putt. It's a shame there's not more putt-putts around. But I think that's why, when we do something small for my birthday, that's why I like going to Top Golf. It's not putt-putt.
That's fun.
But, Top Golf's still golf. Tons of fun.
Good time. Yeah.
Absolutely. But what about you guys? What was your favorite 80s, 90s birthday parties ideas?
Yeah. Let us know.
I want to hear.
I would say the one kind of interesting theme, it seems like, through a lot of birthdays is just the idea of, again, not to kind of harp back on what we talked about a little bit already, but just the idea of getting together with people and spending time together. I think it's like that's really what it comes down to, right? Is how are we spending fun times together and making reasons to get together, to hang out, to build those memories. I feel like that's really what birthdays kind of are about.
Yes. 100% agree. Unless you're me.
And you just run away from everyone.
I just run away from everybody. But guys, all of our listeners, leave your comments. Send us your messages on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm going to do something we haven't done before. I'm going to give a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about next week so we can get comments early on. Send us your questions, folks. We're going to talk about midlife sex next week. Sex.
Oh, and the dog's excited about that. Apparently that set my dog off too. Thanks, Mike. Guess she's ready to go.
It's going to be a great topic. We got lots to talk about, that midlife sex. It's different when you're younger. But thank you for joining us.
Boy.
Tell your friends to subscribe. Leave your comments and your feedback below. And until next week, good luck, guys.
Bye, everybody.